I am missing my friend so much. I had no idea the impact his passing would have on me. He had a premonition that he might be leaving. What an honor to be called one of your close friends. To have called him a dear friend, to have collaborated with him in the creation of his celestial visual creation, Realms of Light, to which he has now returned. Devastated that he has returned to the Realms of Light because I was expecting him to be here for a very long time. The first man that I had ever interviewed on my channel. On the show today, we have a man. Usually we have female guests. Iasos is a music creator specializing in heavenly celestial music, interdimensional music, higher consciousness music. One of the founders and originators of New Age music, now focused on the creation of celestial visuals. What you're hearing now is the Angels of Comfort. I was honored to be hired to dance in one of his creations of celestial visuals. I am Heaven Hope, and this is Conversations with Goddess. Find out more about Iasos and his music, especially Angels of Comfort, which is one of his most famous pieces. Iasos made his transition. I'm still grokking it. On January 6th, 2024, we celebrate your life, my beloved, dear soul friend, Iasos. I'm deeply grateful for all the love, compassion, and kindness that you showed me. A mentor, a source of inspiration, such a joy to have you on this planet. Thank you for always wrapping me up in a burrito of love. I want to remember your sense of humor, your sense of fun, your aliveness. Maybe you're not in the physical realm anymore, you're not in your body, but you are everywhere. I will always remember him from this delightful picture as a little baby, wonder child, that glorious, beautiful smile. That encapsulates who Iasos is, was, and always will be. You live on in our hearts. We celebrate you. We give thanks for you. And I pay tribute and honor you. Magnificent, loving being of light.
Around 67 or 68, I just started hearing it in my head and I didn't know where it was coming from. It was just like a radio station inside. And so I'd be running around listening to it and loving it. And that happened for a few years. Then around 1973, I had a profound experience where I sensed a particular being from a higher dimension, and then I knew that instant that he was the one that all this time had been purposely mind to mind transmitting it into my mind. And I also remembered him from before I was born. I realize this is hard for you to believe, but at least I'm telling you what I believe, and you're free to handle that reality any way you like. I remembered this from before I was born, that we'd made this agreement. He would shoot it to me and I'd do everything I could to manifest it. I'm functioning as a step-down transformer to recreate these patterns here on the physical dimension, so people hear a useful simulation of nature patterns, of harmonious patterns, perfection patterns, paradise patterns. And a simple example is joy. If you knock that up an octave, by the way, that means double the frequency. Joy, an octave higher, is ecstasy. An octave higher, it's rapture. And it just keeps going. Paradise is a frequency range. Just like boredom is low frequency, hatred is very low frequency, love is a nice high frequency, paradise is a super high frequency. And some people live there, and some people occasionally go there, some people don't know what you're talking about. So just a matter of revving up your aura, fine-tuning it and upshifting it, where you're operating in those ranges. Not only does it remind them of higher dimensions, but it even makes them homesick for it, because in general things tend to be much more harmonious there. Professor Joel Funk in the psychology department of Plymouth State College in New Hampshire is very curious to know what happens to people when they have a near-death experience. He found out a few general things. Most of them were met by a very loving being. Most of them went through a tube of light. Most of them heard heavenly music. So he was curious, what was that heavy music like? So he played for them a lot of classical music, a lot of New Age music, some jazz. And they're supposed to rate the music in terms of what came close. Did any of it come close? And there's one piece that always got the highest rating, curiously. And that piece was a piece I did called The Angels of Comfort. Music is a conductor of emotions. Musicians are merchants selling emotions served on a platter of sound. And for any type of emotion you can possibly imagine, there are musicians that specialize in music generating that emotion. Funny because I'm at the opposite end of the spectrum from heavy metal. Yeah. It's so destructive, it'll kill plants.
It what?
It'll kill plants. Just play the heavy metal music. It'll kill the plant.
That's kind of the surface of heavy metal music. But in a way, it's like a release valve for people who are angry. This is like therapy.
Well, it's not really released, it's expressing the anger they're experiencing. Here's an interesting definition I came across, okay?
Okay.
Positive is that which unifies and unites, and negative is that which separates or polarizes. This is me, that's you, I don't like you. It's a separating force, we're different. Love is a unifying force, it connects. Well, you know, when you're screaming at someone, that's a separating force, so I don't see how that's going to create more love and unity.
If your body feels like moving to it, go for it. But don't limit it to normal earth concepts of what dancing is supposed to be. You'll have a lot more fun that way.
When I was at Cornell, I had a smooth band on campus. It was called the Nova Shadow Quartet. We used to play for fraternity parties where people wanted to dress up formally and dance. We specialized in bossa nova. But at a certain point, around my third year there, I started hearing unusual music in my mind. And I knew this is not normal earth music. It was very heavenly. To myself, I used to call it paradise music. It was so heavenly, so filled with love, harmony, and beauty. It was not only unusual music, but also the sounds that were creating that music were also unusual. It was not conventional instruments like trumpet, piano, violin, cello. It was unusual sounds, and this is before synthesizers existed. In the beginning, what I was manifesting was a far cry from what I was hearing in my head because of the limitations of the technology. Progressively over the years, the technology has been improving, and my ability to buy the technology I needed has been improving. So I've been getting progressively closer and closer to more accurately outpicturing what I've been hearing in my mind. Now it's really close. In the early 70s, perhaps 71 to 72, I had one of the most profound interdimensional, spiritual, metaphysical experiences of my life, where I very suddenly sensed a particular being on a higher dimension. He and his female partner were both looking at me and they were smiling, but I finally, quote, remembered them. I remembered that this being and I had made an agreement to work together. His name is Vista, and I love him very much, and I'm deeply honored to be working with him. I'm like a step-down transformer for Vista or a local branch office for Vista. You can think of it either way. There's plenty of negative emotions on Earth. Earth does not need more negative emotions. I wouldn't do that if they paid me, which is why, you know, if you get hired to do a soundtrack for a movie, and they tell me, over here we want happiness, great, I'll do it. Over here we want ecstatic, great, I'll do it. Over here we want tension, suspense, I'm not gonna do that. And if they say, over here we want anger or fear, I would never do that. That's not why I'm here on Earth. I wouldn't do that no matter how much they paid me. It's against my principles. There's already enough suffering on Earth. I don't want to add to the suffering, I want to add to the joy.
most of my career, I felt I was basically ignored, and the whole parade passed by me and just ignored me. This last 2-3 years, suddenly there's a revival of increased interest in what I'm all about. Now people are getting excited with music at 75, you know? Kind of. So what surprised me was the degree to which the public totally ignored what I was doing for most of my career. But this last 2.5-3 years, it's been switching over in the opposite direction. Planetary vibrations are increasing. As they're increasing, people are raising in consciousness. As people are raising in consciousness, more and more people are getting into the consciousness range of where they can appreciate what my music's been putting out all along.
You live on in our hearts. We celebrate you. We pay tribute and honor you.
Iasos, master, celestial musician.